Okay, so today we are going to learn how to use if statement in JavaScript. Okay, so here I have already done the codes. The scenario is the user will key in the subject code, alright, and then based on the subject code, the if statement is going to identify the name and the credit hour for that particular subject. Once the related information have been identified, the total fees that the student or the user has to pay will be displayed as how I am displaying here. Very simple scenario, okay? So this is the code. So here I have the full HTML code, and then there's no information at the body. Alright, I'm not going to put anything at the body. We are just going to use JavaScript. Okay, so as usual, I need to have this particular script statement within my head tag, and then I need to end it with another closing script statement. Okay, first thing I have declared some variables here. Okay, some are empty and one of it is not empty. Alright, so because I'm going to calculate the credit hour, I have set one credit hour is equivalent to 120 ringgit. So every credit hour will cost 120 ringgit, no matter what subject. Alright, so how to get the input from the user? I am using prompt. Alright, remember prompt? I can get a value from the user using prompt. Whatever value that the user key in is going to be kept here. So you have the equal sign here, right? So whatever that you enter here will be kept inside this particular variable. Okay, so now for this purpose, we are going to use if statement. Alright, if statement. So in this particular example, I only have 3 subjects: Internet and Web Publishing, Program Design, Operating System. Only 3 subjects is available. If the user key in other than these 3 subjects, it will be as none for subject name and 0 for credit hour, because the subject is not available. Alright? Okay, so what I do, first I ask for the subject code. Once I know the subject code, I can identify the rest. So if you notice, if statement in JavaScript is the same as in C program, in C++, and even in Java. It's the same. Alright, so I start with if. I check the first item. Alright, so I see whether it is equivalent to DCS 5288. So here I'm using double equal sign. If you want to compare, okay, if you want to compare, you use double equal sign. This is not double equal sign because you are assigning value. The meaning is it is 2 different meanings. Okay, so if the subject code is equivalent to DCS 5288, I will take the subject name, which is Internet and Web Publishing, and the credit hour, which is 4. I'll take it out, and I'm done. Okay, so it won't go to the else, because once this is true, I'll take the item over here, and then straight away I will terminate the if statement. Straight away I'll come here. I won't go through the rest. Okay, so once I get the subject name and credit hour, so my fee I can already calculate. Credit hour is 4, and then remember credit cost, it is 120 ringgit. So 4 multiply with credit cost, and then I can get my fee. Okay, I can get my fee, and then I can display whatever information that I want. At the end of the day, once it is completed, this is what I should get. Of course, here I tested with Program Design, not Internet and Web Publishing. Okay, so now let's run this again. Okay, let's run this and put in a value which is not there. Okay, let's say I simply put www. There is no such code. So what it does is, it'll display this. Alright, the code is there, but I don't know the name, there's no credit hour, and of course there's no total. Alright, what happened if I do this www? It'll come down here. So now this is www. It'll check, is this www? No. It'll come out, go to the else. Is this www? No. It'll come out, go to the next else. Is this www? No. Finally, it'll go to the last else, and it straight away say that I couldn't find this particular subject code, so subject name is none, credit hour is 0. But then it still calculates your fee, and it still displays the items as what you can see here. Alright, even though the subject is not available. So this is how if statement looks like in a JavaScript. It's the same. Okay, it is the same as other programming language. Now let's look at this subject code. Alright, so there is a possibility that a person might just put in small letter DCS. So how do we actually do this? We want to accept also. Alright, we want to accept also. So what we can do is, we can use OR. Subject code equals to double quotes DCS 5288. You can do this. So meaning, if you give me small letters, if you give me capital letters, okay, it will still work because the operator that I'm using is OR. It's either this or this, and I'll get the same value. That's it. Alright, very simple. It's the same. You have seen this before. I'm just doing a bit of revision with you. Alright, so now let's do a bit of modification. Alright, let's do a bit of modification, because if, let's say, the subject code is not available, alright, the subject code is totally not available, I don't see why we want to display. Alright, we don't have to display all this. Straight away we can tell the user, hey, look here, this particular code is not available. I'm not going to do any calculation for you. Alright, so very simple. We can do an if statement for it. Okay, a very simple if statement. After you get the subject code, alright, after you get the subject code, what you can do is, okay, what we can do is, we can actually add a if statement to check our subject code. Alright, before we go into the processing part, we first check whether the subject code is correct or not. So what I've done here is, if the subject code is this, 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 then we proceed. If you give me something else like www, it won't go through this process. It'll come out, and then it'll go to the else. Alert, you have entered a wrong subject code. It depends whether you want to use alert or you want to display on the browser. If you want to display on the browser, you have to use document.write. Okay, so this is one simple way how to avoid doing processing for something which is not valid. Okay, just insert an if statement. Simple as that. Here I'm using OR. Okay, you can even use AND. But if you use AND, this symbol you have to change. If it is equal, you can use OR. If it is AND, you want to use AND, here should be not equals to. Alright, you have to change it. So this is one way to make the code slightly better than before. If it's wrong, don't process. Only process if the item is correct. Alright, so this is the whole code. Okay, this is the whole code. From the checking part to the if statement to the display. Okay, so this part will only work if I key in the correct value. Alright, so now let's look at the last else. Okay, let's look at the last else. This particular portion I can actually remove because this has catered for the last else. Alright, so I don't need that last else anymore. So I can remove it, because if this statement is correct, right, this whole thing will be okay. It will be correct. So I don't need the else there anymore. So I can just make it a bit nicer, put up all the quotes, and this is it. Okay, very simple. Make sure you put indentation. Alright, easier to see the groupings of your if. Alright, so this is how you use if statement in a JavaScript code.